The Boston Celtics down 1-0 in this series to the Miami Heat. The first time that they lose the first game of a playoff series this postseason. I'm Sarah Goodwill here with Bobby Manning, Jimmy Toscano, and Josue Pavon. A lot went wrong, but particularly down the stretch for the Celtics, their inability to hold on and play with a lead. Now, we know the Heat love to play from behind. We saw it in the last series when they would love to come from behind. I think they overcame a 15-point deficit in the fourth quarter to beat the Bucks last series. But what do the Celtics need to adjust in order to even the series and take game two?
Well, we talked about Kemba already. I think you got to make some efforts to free him up, get him some catch and shoot opportunities as they've got Marcus Smart at a high rate. He's taken less than 2 catch and shoot threes a game, which I think can get higher. You wouldn't expect this from me, but Enes Kanter, 0 minutes tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm surprised he didn't pull the card. I'm surprised he didn't pull the card out of the bag. I mean, that's just me looking at Brad Stevens, a guy who's willing to try anything, and surprised that he didn't try it here. Miami certainly got a bevy of points in transition from 3, so it's not too stunning they didn't try that. But again, Tatum's getting hit hard in that pick and roll. Kemba's getting hit hard in that pick and roll. Kanter's a guy who can set a strong screen and get to the basket, and that might help those guys a little bit too, even though, oh man, he gives me a heart attack on defense.
For me, I'm gonna say, listen, we haven't talked about him much at all tonight because you kind of just did this a little bit under the radar, but I thought Jalen Brown could have been a hell of a lot better on the defensive end, and I think that he could have been more. I think he was not really his own fault, but he was kind of invisible down the stretch. He had that offensive rebound put back in game 1 late in the game there, but overall, I mean, this is a guy that he has stepped up so much for the Celtics in the bubble and in this playoff run, where you kind of are expecting him and needing him to keep that sort of level of play going. So when we talk about Kemba Walker all we want, and all these guys are important, but I think Jalen Brown is almost turned into like a bit of a glue guy on this team, and a guy that can be effective not just in the starting lineup but on the second unit too when you get into the subs there. So I'd really like to see him do more to listen. Jay Browder shouldn't be scoring 22 points. So right off the bat, I think Jalen Brown has a reason to sort of get up for game 2.
Yeah, for the Celtics, I think defensively, they have to just be more aggressive. I didn't see that same sort of like chippiness. Well, I guess we didn't see it either in the beginning of the series when they were facing the Raptors, but we need to see more of that. We saw that in Game 7. We saw that in Game 6. That's the kind of approach that I think really not only intimidates opposing teams, but it kind of gets them upset a bit. It gets them out of their focus, and that's exactly what the Celtics want to happen. And offensively, to piggyback on what Bobby said, you got to figure out a way to free up Kemba. And also Kemba, and I know a lot of scoring first point guards tend to do this, but when you're not scoring well and you're not shooting and the offense isn't there, he has to get rid of that ball. Stop dribbling the ball out. Stop dribbling out the shot clock. Move the ball. Push the ball. I want to see the Celtics see if they can get, 29, 30 assists in game 2. Those a la those old Brad Stevens teams that used to have, Kelly Olynyk and Evan Turner running things, that's the kind of offense I want to see in game 2. And I think that's when you're going to see, 5, 6 players scoring in double digits, scoring efficiency, of course. But I think it starts on the defensive end, though. I think offensively it'll come together, but defensively, got to be more aggressive. Got to fight through those screens.
One more wild card that the Celtics have is Gordon Hayward. He's supposed to come back at some point in this series, and you miss him when Kemba's playing the way he is, right? You can play without one of them, but you can't play without both of them. Is Gordon Hayward the game changer for the Celtics in this series? Can they win without him at this point?
I think he'll be crucial because of the lineup versatility that the Celtics are going to have. And I bring this back to Daniel Theis because Theis fouls out of this game, and I think he's going to foul out of every game in this series if they're relying on him for 35 minutes. So something they're going to be able to try when Hayward gets back is that best 5 lineup with Smart in there for Theis with the other 4 starters. I think that could be effective in this series. I think it would challenge Miami. The key is, how much of a load can Hayward pick up defensively, on the boards, all the different areas you would need him in that lineup? Because ultimately, as Josue said, we're talking about a defensive meltdown for the Celtics tonight, and I don't know how much Hayward helps you in that regard. Offensively, we know he can do a million different things for you, but defensively, they got to clean that up first because Hayward's not coming back anytime soon the way he looks.
Well, you guys know what I said. When we picked X factors or game changers before the series started, I said Gordon Hayward, and sure enough, now we're talking about a possibility of Gordon Hayward coming into the series. I think it'd be huge for them. I mean, he gives you the offense that you need off the bench, or I think he would come off the bench because of the minutes restrictions and things like that, things of that nature. And but what he can give you is going to absolutely spell those minutes from whether it's Kemba or whoever it may be taking a rest there. I mean, they could definitely use his spark. I'm not expecting 100%, but I'm a lot more after watching some of the warm-ups that I've seen. He's a lot closer than I thought he was going to be. I didn't know for sure how much we'd see of him, and I still don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking about him by Game 4, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I just don't think he's going to be quite there. I don't think it'll be the kind of production where it's significant to say, oh, well, Gordon Hayward really came in there and changed things around. I just think it's going to take a little more time. If the Celtics make it to the NBA Finals, I do see Gordon Hayward being a guy that can really give Brad Stevens some valuable minutes off the bench. So to say at some point in this series we'll see him, I think that is true. I think we will see Gordon Hayward at some point. But I'm not leaning towards, put it this way, I think Gordon more of a decoy role would be
Sure.
the best case scenario for the Celtics, which isn't
he can
isn't
spread
terrible.
the floor.
Exactly.
He can stretch the floor, just park him at the 3-point line, right?
Right,
Yep.
right. I see that happening over him coming in and, I don't know, putting up 7 points a game or something, whatever the case may be.
Let's you get Smart be a point guard too. Right now, Smart's filling
Mhm.
Hayward's role off the ball, and they could use Smart on the ball, get Kemba off the ball. It gives you more options.
Absolutely. Well, for all the rest of our Celtics content, find it on our website at clnsmedia.com and on our YouTube channel at Celtics All Access.